Right now, across 307 global family offices, managing an average of $1.3 billion each, a massive wave of capital is actively changing course. This chart illustrates a historic pivot. 60% of multi-generational wealth managers are executing strategic asset reallocations this year, a UBS record. The pressure comes from two threats. Immediate geopolitical conflicts drive short-term panic, while sovereign debt fears dominate the 5-year outlook. To build defensive perimeters against these risks, managers are pulling capital out of comfortable domestic holdings. They are actively reducing traditional commercial real estate allocations, and nearly a third are deliberately dumping US dollar exposure to avoid currency concentration. Protecting billion-dollar portfolios in 2026 requires a very specific maneuver. Allocators have to leave heavily concentrated domestic positions to capture yield that operates entirely independent of Western economic slowdowns. So, where exactly does $1 billion go when it leaves commercial real estate? The data points clearly points to the artificial intelligence value chain. Institutional money ignores consumer software, buying directly into the physical foundations, the data centers, power grids, and raw settlement architecture required to keep AI running. Simultaneously, these offices are executing a measured strategic expansion into emerging market equities. They are searching for rapid population growth and digital adoption that remains insulated from dollar-dominated economies. The ideal asset for this macroeconomic cycle successfully merges scalable AI data infrastructure with deep, dominant exposure across the emerging world. Capturing both the AI infrastructure mandate and emerging market yield requires a jurisdiction that is both regulator-readable and geographically central to the Global South. This leads the search for non-correlated assets directly to Dubai. This is the headquarters for the Binary Holdings, a technology network built expressly to capture institutional demand for behavioral intelligence. Look at this projection. From its central node in the UAE, the network extends across 13 distinct emerging markets. It is an infrastructure layer entirely focused on the fastest-growing digital populations on the planet. What makes this network highly unusual is its distribution model. Instead of spending billions acquiring users one by one, the technology is invisibly embedded inside national-scale telecommunications, banking, and digital wallet applications. That structural advantage grants them immediate, zero-cost access to 568 million reachable users. By securing the foundational distribution layer of the emerging digital economy, Binary Holdings bypasses the high-cost volatility of competing for individual consumer attention. If you zoom past the user interface of those partner applications, you find Binary OS. This is the runtime layer, sitting quietly in the background, orchestrating every user interaction and activating specific monetization rails without interrupting the user's experience. Every single one of those interactions drops down to a proprietary settlement layer called the Binary Network. It's an EVM-compatible blockchain, currently finalizing 1.84 billion monthly transactions, with total settlement happening in under 3 seconds. But the true value of the system lies in the next step. This is the BNI layer. It takes billions of chaotic, unstructured microtransactions and applies a strict K=50 mathematical privacy standard to anonymize the users. It then structures that raw behavior into highly accurate intelligence, specifically scoring an audience's lifetime value and propensity to spend. All of this structured data feeds directly into Atlas, a partner-facing platform. This is where authorized capital allocators log in, query cross-market behaviors, and extract precise intelligence on consumer habits spanning 17 different industries. Every digital interaction across 500 million smartphones is captured, settled, and refined into the most robust behavioral AI dataset in the emerging world. A powerful dataset has little utility if the operational framework managing it is broken. The UBS report highlights this vulnerability. More than half of $1.3 billion family offices lack the formal governance required to oversee complex alternative assets. The architecture of the Binary Holdings provides the transparency these committees lack. Because the underlying settlement network is a public, regulator-readable ledger, and all analytical outputs are surfaced through the Atlas dashboard, allocators receive continuous, verifiable reporting. This chart reveals a clear, measurable economic output for the network. Across their partner operators, average revenue per user has increased by 2.4%, while customer churn has dropped by 2.8%. This performance matches the institutional standards of the UAE, where top-tier regional capital and sovereign-level entities are already deploying into regulated digital frameworks. The network delivers the scale of emerging market technology, but it wraps it in an institutional-grade governance structure that any risk committee can audit. The 2026 asset reallocation is already underway. For billion-dollar portfolios, the risk of standing still now outweighs the risk of the pivot. The binary holding sits at the intersection of the mandates driving this shift: foundational AI infrastructure, scalable emerging market yield, and total operational independence from the US dollar ecosystem. For wealth managers currently repositioning, the next step is to review the network metrics directly. You can arrange a private briefing and request access to the investor portal today. Controlling the behavioral intelligence layer across 13 high-growth markets provides a non-correlated yield that traditional Western assets can no longer match.